I'm not sure what we're doing yet. It might be simmer relay. I don't know. I haven't really decided. Is it hard to make a PLC talk to DCS? I guess it depends what manufacturer of PLC and what manufacturer of DCS. The ones that I've done are all Modbus, and Modbus is Modbus. It doesn't really change too much, to be fair. What software is that? That's Simmer Relay, mate. Simul Relay, I think it's called. We showed it last night on the stream. Yeah, so to go back to that, PLCs and DCSs, it just depends on what protocol you're talking on. Good evening, everyone. Thanks, everyone, for joining. Not really got a plan for tonight, to be fair. So if you've got any suggestions, let me know. Evening, evening, evening. Thank you to everyone who's liking already. What's everyone been doing with their day today? How can we learn electrical schematics? Take a look at CK Maintenance's TikTok page. He goes through schematics all the time, like line by line, talking about each component, stuff like that. It's really he's got some really good videos on that sort of thing. The other way, download this software called Simul Relay. Sawmill Automations, how are you doing, mate? Thank you, I appreciate that. And yeah, like I say, download this software. It's called Simul Relay. It's free. It's on the Microsoft Store. It's on Google Play Store, Apple Store. And the good thing about this software is it'll show you basically how the... I mean, it's not going to show you how to, put schematics together, but it's going to show you the sort of paths that the currents flow and that sort of thing. I'll just quickly put something together.
Control, you must bring control.
Ezekiel, thank you for the follow, mate. I'm trying out some new sounds. I think that came through alright. I don't want K1. I want a push button. Push button. There we go. Yeah, just to show you. If you missed last night's live, I was showing off this software. You can put it into play mode so you can simulate, and you can see this red line here. That's basically the positive. The blue line's the negative. Close the switch. You can see the red line then goes through the switch and energizes the relay. Have you tried using EMU 8086? I haven't, mate. I'm not sure what that is. Let me know a bit more about it.
You must bring control.
PLC. Andre, thank you for the follow, mate. Really appreciate that. What software is this? This is Simul Relay.
Control, you must bring control.
Thank you for everyone who's following. Dripping Winter, RHL. Thank you, both. Yeah, I've not really got any plans for tonight, to be fair. If anyone wants to see anything in particular, let me know. What is the name of the software? It's called Simul Relay, mate. You'll find it on the Microsoft Store, the Google Store, and Apple Store. Good evening, Lesengo. How are you doing, mate? Leonid, thank you for the follow. Really appreciate that. Yeah, you're best off just pinning it, Katie, because I feel like everyone's going to be asking. So if you want to know what the software is, it's the pin comment. Build a flip-flop circuit. I mean, it's not electronics, but I could probably do that. Let me bin these off. You get timers. You do have to pay for the timers. So the software's free, but if you want timers, then you do. I think I paid something like £10 or something like that. I installed BMS systems and been asked if I wanted to commission, but it's too techie for me. Yeah, I mean, commissioning's it's a skill in itself. If you've never done it before, I wouldn't go jumping straight headfirst into it on your own, because you'll just end up drowning under pressure. Get someone to show you the ropes first, I would say, mate. What's the best way to learn to read schematic and write it out in ladder logic? Well, the great thing about ladder logic is it's not too dissimilar to actual electrical Hey, thank you for that. It's not too dissimilar to actual like electrical contacts and that sort of thing. That's what it was built for. Built for electricians and electrical engineers and that sort of thing in, I think it was like car factories or something back in the day. What's your thoughts on the elect-eng job market after university? I didn't do just university, so I did an apprenticeship, so it was a bit different for me. So I was getting like experience as I was doing my qualifications and that sort of thing. So it's probably a bit different if you're just doing full time. Everyone, thank you for the follow. Barbecue Chips, Mr. Man, Emmanuel as well. Yeah, it was a bit different for me. So because I did an apprenticeship, Kieran, thank you for the follow. I was gaining the experience. I was getting years under my belt while I was learning. So you're coming straight from university, going into the job market, it can be a little bit difficult, as I'm led to believe, because you haven't got that experience. Dot, thank you for the follow, mate. Really appreciate it. So let me just go back to this flip-flop circuit then. What I'm going to do, and flip-flop, as far as I'm understanding what you're wanting, is you just want some flashing, you know, some things changing over. Want a couple of contacts on delay. Let's put that on there. KT2. Wrong contact. Hello, I'm from Uganda. Welcome, mate. Welcome. What's the best system to work on, e.g. Tritium, Trend, Siemens, in your opinion? I don't do BMS, mate, so I'm not fully familiar with Tritium and Trend and that sort of thing. I'm not sure. The only ones I really come across reasonably often is Schneider BMS controllers. But again, I don't work on them, so I don't really know. Electrical engineer from South Africa. Welcome, mate. Thank you for joining tonight. Which app is this? It's pinned in the pinned comment, mate. Program name, pinned comment. Hello, how's it going, Mensch, I think. I can read a schematic. It's just trying to write it out in logic that gets me. Any tips to learn? Maybe look into doing a course on PLC programming, possibly on ladder logic. Other than that, it's just practice, have a play, just keep messing around until it finally sinks in. Yeah. Do you need to find KVL, KCL equations on the job? I don't, mate. No, I haven't done them since I left, college and all that. I've never needed them. That's Kirchhoff's laws, voltage and current laws, isn't it? How would you advise final year student who would like to get into instrumentation? Just keep applying for jobs. Maybe look at doing some maybe internship type work for a little while, just to get some experience on your CV. Yeah. Mazwi, thank you for the follow. Lezule, thank you for the follow as well. Do you program with TF Portal? I've got it. Because I have got a Siemens PLC I bought about a month ago. However, I haven't got it on this computer. I only got this computer maybe 3 or 4 days ago now, and I just haven't got all the softwares on it yet. Fearless, thank you for the follow. Really appreciate that. Let me just finish this circuit off before I start reading more comments. Was it that one? I'm trying to understand why it's not showing me KTs. Maybe it's just a normal relay contact that I need to change. KT, there we go. And I want KT2. I'll link them up, link that to there. And I want, no, not normally closed, I want to normally open. And I want that to be KT1.
Control, you must bring control.
And then what we'll do is, if I pull in a lamp, hook those up, and one more contact of KT1. You guys can see that all right, kind of? Yep. Now if I put that into play.
Control. You must bring control.
There. Bit of a basic flip-flop. Very, very basic. Are you just getting started? I am. I've only been live, I don't even know how long. I don't know where it tells me. 10 minutes or something like that. Not long at all. Would you advise one to learn Siemens PLC or Allen Bradley? That totally depends where you live and what your industry is like. So if you lived in the States, I would say 100% go down the Allen Bradley route, because basically everything's Allen Bradley over there. If you're in Europe, maybe Siemens, because it's the same situation with Siemens over in Europe. Yeah, so it depends where you live, what people use in your area. Carlos, thank you for the follow, mate. Aviz, thank you for the follow. Do you prefer this software or LT Spice? I haven't used LT Spice for, I don't know, over 10 years. This is just for relays and that sort of thing. It's not for electronics. So. I'm currently in phase 6 of my apprenticeship, finding it hard to understand loaded logic. Do you mean ladder logic? Just keep practicing, mate. That's all I can really say. Yeah, only been live a few minutes. Yeah, I've only just started, guys. Yeah. Relays for switching on a lamp or something else. I'm not sure what you're asking there, mate. Shod, thank you for the follow. Martin, thank you for the follow. Jeno, thank you for the follow. Uncle P, thank you for the follow. Only touch Allen Bradley if you're US based. In EU, we call it aging badly. Yeah, it's not. It's still a thing over here. It's just becoming less of a thing day by day. Siemens is the big player over in Europe. Derek, thank you for follow. Delancey Sports, thank you for follow. Calheros, thank you for the follow. Black, Bob, EOGP. Oh, I can see it's a flashing light. Yeah, someone asked me to make a flip-flop, a basic flip-flop. That's what I've understood from it. Thoughts on Fluid Sim? I've never used Fluid Sim. I have seen it. It looks similar to this software. I think you can do a bit more. I don't know if it's free though. You'd have to let me know that. DJ, thank you for follow. What's the program name? It's in the pinned comment. Wimpy or Wimpy, thank you for follow. Delay on, delay off. What are you asking? Sorry. Well, anyway, welcome the engineer. Thanks for coming back, mate. Yeah, I just put together a basic timer flashing circuit. I'm miles behind now. Everyone, thank you for the follow. Thank you, Jake, Samartha, Cold, Cabello, Robino, Moises. What is KT2 for? So KT2 is just there to really reset KT1. So KT1 is what turns on the lamp. KT2 is what turns off the lamp by turning off KT1. We learn on GXWorks 3. Can you explain when to invert and not to invert on ladder logic? I can show you GXWorks 3 because I've got it open right now, so I can show you some stuff on there. Any advice for starting as a maintenance mechanic at a young age? Try and soak up as much knowledge as you can from the older boys at your workplace. The guys who have worked there 30, 40 years, they know everything that, everything that they know. You just need to soak up that knowledge. Always ask questions. Show willing to work, put in the graft. That's what I'd recommend, yeah. Oak King, ENIAC, Paulinho, thank you all for following. Jonathan as well. Danny Sav, welcome back, mate. Thanks for joining. How are you tonight? I'm all good, thank you. Marvin, thank you for the follow. How do one and learn to understand basis? Give this a download. Download Simi Relay, have a play. Get some free PLC programming software or something. I think 2 nights ago, Thursday it was, I showed off Schneider Zelio Soft 2, just for programming smart relays. Yeah, if everyone can share and repost and all that, that'd be great. Thanks, Katie, for mentioning that. Had a rep in from Mitsubishi the other day. Mate gave us some good prices to try and change us from S7 1200. Mitsubishi's great. I love Mitsubishi. They're obviously not as popular, but I do really like Mitsubishi stuff. Elta Base, thank you for the follow. Dozer, thank you for the follow. Enris, thank you for the follow. Tateya, thank you for the follow. How are you? I'm all good, thank you, mate. How are you? Yes, I'm well, thanks. I just got my TIA Portal certificate, so what course would you advise me to take next? Have a look on PLC Dojo. There's a website called PLC Dojo. Have a look on there. A guy called Paul Lynn, he does some pretty good courses. He does them on Alan Bradley as well. I think he does some SEMA ones too. Yeah. There's a guy called Shane Welcher. He joined my live 2 weeks ago now, I think. Told me he did some training and that sort of thing. I checked him out. It all looked pretty good. Not tried it myself, but it looked pretty good. Israel, thank you. Big Finn, thank you. Sumpin, thank you. I would to learn from scratch all about PLC. Yeah, man. Download some free software. Download Codesys. Have a play. Maybe take a course. Yeah, I'd say that. Is anyone want to see anything else before I move on Simmer Relay? Thank you to everyone who's liking the live. Thank you to everyone who's joining.
Control. You must bring control.
Block holder. Thank you for the follow, mate. Right, I think I'm caught up. I think I'm good. Yeah, let's have a look at. So we did all the Simmer Relay stuff last night. I've uploaded that to my YouTube channel because someone asked me to. So if you missed last night's live, I put it all on there. Let's have a look at GX Works. Can you guys see that all right? I think you can. So let's do a little bit of basic ladder logic, I'd say. Can you do electric motors? You can do electric motors in Simmer Relay, yes you can. Thank you, Mensch, I really appreciate that. Luis Guerrero, thank you for follow. Havencore, thank you. Thank you. Man, get Codesys. I haven't got any software in this computer. The only softwares I've got is GXWorks 3, Simmer Relay, and Zeliosoft. Tim, welcome, mate. How are you doing tonight? Thank you for joining, mate. Can you do a sealing latching circuit? Let's go for it. I can do that very quickly. I'll do it very, very quickly before we move on to just doing some basic ladder logic, because I think some of the people in here want to see that sort of thing. So let me go back to. Oh, hang on. I'll go back to this. We'll do a very quick circuit, very quickly. Just a latching circuit. I did one last night. I did a couple last night, actually. The engineer, thank you, mate. Really appreciate that. What is going on with that cowboy hat? Thank you, mate. I appreciate that. Which app am I using? This is called Simmer Relay. So we'll just do it with DC. I'll just show a battery. I'll quickly do. Let's bring in a coil. We'll just leave it as K1. We'll bring in a push button, a normally open, a normally closed, and we'll start hooking stuff up. So right this second, this is not a latching circuit. I press the start button and K1 comes on. I let go of the start button, K1 goes off. It's not latching in any way. So to make it a latching or sealing, as you called it, or holding, some people call it, you need to get a contact of the relay that you're controlling to go in parallel with the start button. So because at the minute I pressed that start button, it was coming on, and when I let go, it was going off. So you put a contact in parallel to the start button, and you'll see I just dab it. I just click it once. I'll push my finger on the button once, and the relay energizes and holds itself in. So that's where the latching or sealing or whatever comes from. Is it free? It is free, yes, it is. It's called Simmer Relay. Any courses you would recommend to learn? I'd recommend looking at Paul Lynn, a guy called Paul Lynn, PLC Dojo. He has some pretty good courses that I've tried myself. They're pretty good. I would program formal in FB and FCs, or FCs. not with absolute address in functions and function blocks. Yeah, we're going to get into all that in a minute. That's my plan. Thank you to everyone who's following. DRM, Charles David, Christopher. I'm sorry I can't pronounce your name. Munaf. Munaf, possibly.
You must bring control.
An enemy within. Thank you for the follow. And Kozani, I'm going to call you. Thank you for the follow. There's a quick sealing circuit. There we go. Hi Moises, how are you? There's a company called ScanTime Automation, £150 brilliant tier online course. I've heard of ScanTime, but I don't know the course. But if the engineer recommends it, I'll recommend it as well. Have a look on there. Right, let's get into GX Works. Let's do just some basic ladder logic. Something a little bit different to what we did last night, I think. Thank you to everyone who's following, everyone who's liking, everyone who's sharing the live. Really, really appreciate it. Panther FX, 90, and one with the Father in Christ. Thank you for the follow. So we just did a sealing circuit in using relays. Let's do the same in ladder logic, and I can show you the difference between the two. Which there isn't very much difference. So to start with, you need your push button. So I had a start push button and a stop push button. Let's call this one start PB, and it'll ask me to declare it, which I have. Not that one. Can you all see that all right? I think you can. Let's call this one stop PB. Really appreciate the follows, guys. Thank you. I put a new sound on the follows, and I'm already finding it's doing my nut in a bit. And then we'll just call this one, what are we calling the coil? Let's just call it motor run. I can't think of anything else. Motor run coil. I don't know. Thank you to everyone who's following. Really, really appreciate it. Do you think an average laptop could run the software you use? Yeah, I mean, most PLC program software is not too heavy. I say that TIA Portal I find it's kind of slow. It depends, I guess, on the specs. You would have to check the website of the software and just check the minimum specs for the software. What sort of LV switchgear do you work with? Or what sort of LV switchgear work do you do? I design switchboards, essentially. Main switchboards, generator switchboards, hybrid switchboards. Yeah. So anything from, 100 amps all the way up to 6,300 amps. Using Schneider switchgear, Terasaki switchgear, or ABB switchgear. Right, so now I need to put motor run coil in here. And that sort of completes our holding circuit. You do need to do a compile in GX Works. And then when I'm finished, which I am, one of these buttons, there we go, start simulation. Thank you to everyone who's following. It's gone a bit mad. Martin Lott, Tarpins, Dantic, Thuske, Geridor, Danny Best, thank you. Sparking myself, but this sort of stuff interests me. Yeah, it's a really interesting topic, mate. I'd say if you are, a domestic spark, or maybe you've done a bit of commercial work or whatever, maybe even some industrial, definitely have a look at, panel wiring jobs. You're definitely qualified for that. Maybe some joint-in jobs, that sort of thing. Just as a transition to try and get over. Maintenance engineering, that's the easiest one to get into the industry, I would say. Do you invert all normally closed on schematic in ladder logic? I'm not sure what you were asking there, to be fair, mate. Did you have someone to teach you ladder logic, or did you learn it yourself? Yeah, so I learned it as part of my apprenticeship. I think we did a little bit of college as well, maybe, when I was VP. Thank you for the Go Populars. Really, really appreciate that. Yeah, so I didn't learn it myself, but I've continuously built on the foundations and learned it more and more. Thank you, I really, really appreciate that, guys. What program is this? This is Mitsubishi GX Works 3. So I'm getting bogged down again with comments. I just need to keep ploughing on, else I'm not going to get it done. Stop PB. So what I'm doing right now is I've obviously I've wrote the program. I've put it in simulation mode, but I don't have physical buttons and a PLC here. My PLCs are in the other room. They're not even powered up. So I'm just doing this simulating in the software. And obviously I don't have the push buttons. So what you do is you create a watch table, which is what these two are doing, for the start and stop push buttons. Commercial mostly. Nice, mate. Nice. Tim Bays, thank you to follow. Is this Studio 5000? It isn't. It's GX Works 3 by Mitsubishi. But it looks very similar, I believe. I haven't used Alan Bradley for a good long time, so I can't really remember what that looked like. But from what I understand, GX Works 3 and Studio 5000 look very similar. Sifamandia, I think. Hopefully I haven't butchered your name. Thank you for the follow. Nadia, Jimmy G, Nadia, thank you for sharing the live, mate. Really appreciate that. Is this Schneider Zelio software? It's not, mate. No, this is Mitsubishi. When do you invert and what's the purpose of it? So, for example, I've inverted that stop PB there. And I've inverted that because I want it to not affect the logic whatsoever until I press the button, and then I want it to cut off the coil. So that's what that's there for. This is the kind of content I need. Thank you, Daystar. I appreciate that, mate. Would it cost a lot just to get some basic stuff and practice at home? You don't have to spend anything, mate. You can download Codesys. Just Google search Codesys now. It's a free software. I think there is some paid options, and you might have to buy licenses for runtimes and stuff. But if you just want to practice programming and simulate it and stuff like that, yeah, give that a download. Thank you for the follow, Daystar. Not similar. Yeah, see, I'm not sure, Richard. I've not used Studio 5000. Maybe ever. I seem to remember I used Studio 500 a good few years ago. Johnny Fawn, thank you. Really appreciate that. Ladder Logic, JJ followed the live. Thank you, mate. Appreciate that, JJ. Ares X8, thank you for sharing. Really appreciate that. Yeah, if you could share the live, that would be really helpful. And any likes and stuff, thank you very much for that, guys. So yeah, let me get back to this then. I need to update, start watching, current values. I know why. You can't just type in start PB and stop PB the way I just did. So let me just bin them two off. There we go. Because it's got a bit of a longer name, it's part of Prog POU, which is the actual name of the program. So I can now I'm essentially pressing the start button right now by toggling it to true. You can see it says true here for the start PB. So I've pressed it and I've pulled my finger off and it's held in. You can see the motor run coil has still got the blue inside. And that's because it's being held in by a contact of itself. No different to how we just did this circuit here. You can see that, right? Yeah. So no different to this hardwired logic. The only difference, I guess, is that I drew this vertical and ladder logic is horizontal. I could have drew this in horizontal as well, to be fair. Right, so let's go back to GX Works. So that's a standard holding circuit. You might use that for, like I say, 2 push buttons to control a motor or something. Ares X8, thank you for the rose. I missed that. Thank you very much. The best software to start learning is the Beckhoff TwinCat. You have 5 days of simulation. I mean, you would never need 5 days of simulation. The likelihood is if you're just practicing programming, you're just going to simulate for a couple of minutes at a time, maybe an hour at most. Making bomb. I've no idea what you're talking about there, Johnny. Sorry, mate. No, this isn't making bombs. VP BG 1988. Thank you for sharing the live. Really appreciate that. Could you do a video on how to make shortcuts when reading from a schematic? What do you mean make shortcuts, Jake? I'm not entirely sure what you mean there, mate. PB means push button. It does. That's, yeah. I didn't want to type out push button. I just put PB. Thank you to everyone sharing, gifting, tapping away. That's, yeah, great. Thank you very much. Alice, thank you for following. B Mike, thank you for following. What's the name of the other software you're using? I'm going to... I need to stop saying I was watching back my video from yesterday and I feel like I'm saying way too much. This software is... There we go. It's called Simul Relay. You'll find it on the Microsoft Store, Google Store, or Apple Play Store. It's totally free. The only thing you do have to pay for is timers if you want timers, but it's not very much. Thank you, Katie, for saying that. Momath, thank you for the follow. What IDE is this? That was GXWorks 3. Mitsubishi's PLC programming software for FX5Us and IQRs and that sort of thing. PLC range. Do you use these for BMS systems? No, these are for industrial control, as in like machine lines. In my case, like power management control, that sort of thing. Dezvad, I'm all good, thank you, mate. How are you? Make a stop like program. We can compare yours and mine. Stop light. I'm not sure what you're asking for there, mate. Hey, thank you for the follow. Username, thank you for the follow. What's this? I'm just kind of chopping and changing between Simul Relay and GXWorks 3. I was kind of showing the comparison of physical hardwired latching circuit to a software latching circuit. They almost look identical, is what I was trying to get across. Miguel, thank you for the follow. Just started to program. Why is it not X and Y's? Or is it added automatically? Yeah, so that's a good question. Let's go down that route. So you can do X's and Y's. And for anyone who doesn't know, X's and Y's are the inputs, which are X's. On like Siemens, that would be I's. And the Y's are outputs, which on Siemens would be Q's. I don't have to do that because I'm doing this with using variables. So let me just stop the programming. Let's explore this a little bit because I think it's worth people knowing who don't know a lot about programming PLCs, I guess. Mitsubishi FX. Yes, this is software for FX5s. What software is that? It is Mitsubishi GXWorks 3. That's pretty cool. I've seen lots of schematics very similar to these in commercial BMS circuits. Yeah, I mean, BMS is still, I guess, automation. You know, it's industrial automation, but for commercial buildings and that sort of thing. There's not a right lot of difference. Thank you to everyone who's following, sharing, liking. I really, really appreciate it. Let's take a look at... Let me do a comparison then. So, I've called that start PB up there. Let's do a new line here. And we're going to call this X1. In fact, I need to be in write mode. When you come out of simulation mode, it automatically goes into read only. You need to put it into write mode again. So, new contact. Let's go for X0. And I want that to be normally closed. We're going to call that X1. And then we're going to call this Y0. And then we're going to call that Y0 as well. So these two rungs here, so what lines 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 both work in exactly the same way. There's no difference really. The only difference is this is using physical addressing with X's and Y's, so inputs and outputs. That one's using variables, names. In Mitsubishi they call them labels. You can, I mean, you'll have no idea what X's are and Y's are unless they're commented. So there is something called device, common device. So in here, I think you can see that all right. I can call that start PB, so you know what it is. Call that stop PB. And then I need to go to the Y's and call that motor run. And now they're labelled. You can see it says start PB, stop PB, motor run. So you can tell there's no real difference between them two. But I would always suggest never work with direct addressing these days. It's kind of an old school thing that before the days of labels and variables and stuff. The new way to do it is using labels and variables. And the reason you want to do that is because you can't write reusable function blocks using physical addressing. You have to use variables. I've missed loads of follows. I really appreciate everyone. Thank you so much. And thank you for sharing the live as well. Geos and Jason Kidd. Good to find this page. Just started learning PLC. Thank you. Appreciate that, Meg. Can you show me a simple on-off auto on, say, a motor? Explain this, please. Just like a HOA type thing. On the other software you're talking about. You work on Schneider gear. I do, mate. Yes, I do. Schneider's got some pretty good stuff. Can you show us how to make a push button to start motor line from A to go to B, hit end switch and return to A and stop? I'd have to process what you're asking me for there. I'm trying to keep things simple, so I'll just be sat here trying to work out what everyone's wanting. Is it good money to resell automation parts? That's a good question. Potentially, I guess you just have to get them cheap and sell them less cheap. I don't know. I don't sell automation parts. I do have a load of PLCs I need to sell because I've got no room for them anymore, but I haven't done it yet. Application. This is GX Works 3 by Mitsubishi. Thank you to everyone who's following, sharing, liking. Really, really appreciate it. Yeah, so I was talking about direct addressing versus labeling and variable names. You can't create reusable function blocks when you're using X's and Y's. And the number one recommendation I would have, once you get to a reasonable standard of PLC programming, is starting to write your own reusable function blocks. And the reason for that is because you're going to save yourself so much time on the next project and the project after and the project after that by creating function blocks that are specific to, you know, the job that you do, specific to the machines you build. All you're going to do is just drag and drop function blocks in after that. You only write the code once and then you reuse it over and over. Can I buy your old PLC stuff? I'm in the UK. Potentially, mate. You potentially can. Drop me a message and we'll get chatting. I do have some old gear that I just need to get rid of at some point. I just haven't bothered yet. I sell second user drives. Nice, Scoobs. Nice. What sort of brands and stuff do you sell? I can buy all automation from you. If you're in the UK, Mohammed, yeah, send me a message. But if not, then I won't be shipping internationally. Ruby, I missed them. Thank you for all them gifts. I unfortunately did miss them. Sorry about that. Welt Androl sent me a heart me. Thank you. I really appreciate that. Who do you work for? I'm not going to tell you that, mate. Yeah, I'll keep that to myself. Do you conduct training? I don't know. I just do all this really for the love of it. I enjoy talking about automation. I enjoy showing people stuff. I've got no real interest in being a trainer or making my own courses or anything like that. Yeah, I've just got no interest. I'd rather just do this stuff in my own time for free and just talk to people about this sort of thing that have an interest like I do. Where do you download this software? The Mitsubishi website, but it is a licensed software. This isn't free, this software. I have 15,000 different parts in stock in the UK. Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, send me a message, mate. Yeah, that's fine. I've got some stuff I need to get rid of at some point. How to press push button, motor goes A to B, hit limit switch B, goes back, hits limit switch A and stop. So just from one button press, drive a motor until it hits a limit switch, and then it goes back the other way. I could probably do something like that. Yeah, I don't see why not. It doesn't sound too difficult. Thank you to everyone who's followed. I really, really appreciate that. What is the best software to start control from scratch? Start basic. Take a look at maybe a Siemens logo, or maybe take a look at a Schneider Zelio. Zelio Soft 2 is the software. It's free. Start low and work your way up. Don't start something like GX Works, which has a ton of settings, and you know it'll be difficult for you to get started on your own. How much does the license cost? I can't remember, mate. I have no idea. I do know there's a company called BPX, who are an automation supplier in the UK. They sell the software plus a HMI for cheaper than the software on its own, as a starter kit type thing. BMS or process automation. Yeah, this is just kind of... I don't work in BMS, I work in power generation. So this is just general industrial stuff I'm trying to show. Mitsubishi versus Beckhoff. I've actually never used Beckhoff. I got some training. One of the Beckhoff guys came into my previous place of employment, showed me the stuff for a day, and I never used it since. Is it possible to transfer software from the old Modicons to Siemens TIA, or is it rewriting job? No, it's a rewriting job, mate, yeah. Unless it's done in structured text. The benefit of structured text is you can copy and paste. The syntax will probably need changing. There'll be little bits and bobs you need to change, but in general, going from structured text in one program language, one manufacturer's software to another, wouldn't be that difficult. Is that Siemens? No, it's Mitsubishi. Yeah, it's Mitsubishi. Let's take a look at this then. So let me just go back to what you said. Push button, motor starts, hits limit switch, motor goes back. Excuse me. Hits limit switch and stops. Right, okay. Let's bin this off.
You must bring control. Control. You must bring control.
This is GX Works 3, mate. This is Mitsubishi GX Works 3. Okay, so I've already forgotten what you said. I'll have to keep it in front of me. Push button, motor goes. Right. That's in fact, let me go back, because that's exactly what I had. Push button to start a motor going. Right, and then that motor starts going, and it stops when it hits a limit switch, I think you said. Desvad, thank you for that. I didn't know you could pin stuff, but yeah, thank you for that, mate. That's really helpful. Hits limit switch B, goes back. So let's rename this to... How do I rename again? Labels. I'm just using global labels for now, I think. No, I'm not. That's a lie. I mean using local labels. Motor run. Let's call it FWD. So motor run forward. So that sets off the motor running forward. And if we hit the limit switch, let's make a new contact here. Limit switch B, I think. Yeah. Limit SW B. Let's just call it that. So the motor's going to keep running until we hit B. If we hit B, limit switch B, we're going to then go... We probably want to latch the limit switch in. I'm thinking we probably want to latch it in until we get back to A. Yeah, let's do that. So limit switch B. Let's make a new coil. Limit. Thank you for the follows, shares, likes, everything. Thank you, I really appreciate it. Limit switch B. Let's call this one latch. My naming convention isn't great, I know it isn't, but we're just doing this on the fly. We're going to latch that up. So put a parallel contact in there, limit switch B latch. And then in order to break that, we're going to need limit switch A. Okay, and then we're going to change that to limit switch B latch. Oh shit, I didn't mean to do that. Limit. Thank you to everyone who's following, I really appreciate it. Limit switch B latch. So press the start button. I'm going to run forward. I'm going to keep running forward till we hit limit switch B. We're just going to latch that up. That's going to open that up. And then once that's open, we can then go backwards. I believe that was right. We can then go back. Let me find the comment again. Motor goes A to B, hits limit switch B, goes back, hits limit switch A and stops. Right, okay. I think we're on the right track here. So once we've got the B latch, we can then do limit switch B latch. then we can then add another coil called motor run
You must run control.
reverse.
Control. You must run control.
And B is always latched, so we don't need to add anything else to that. We unlatch B with... Oh, that was a mistake. I meant to put A in there. And... yeah, I think... are we good there? I feel like we might be good there. I feel like it's 1999, ladder programming. They still use this stuff. This stuff is still way the most popular in industry. It is. Structured text definitely flying up there. But I guess it just depends what sort of industry you're working. Because I know a lot of process control uses function block. Let's go back into simulation mode. Ruby, Katakuri, thank you for the gifts. I really appreciate it. I've missed loads of comments. If I've missed anything and you want to know an answer, ask me again. What is this program called, and is it free? This isn't free. No, this one is a paid software. It's called GXWorks 3. I want to learn Studio 5000. I'm not the guy to teach you that, unfortunately. Have a look at Shane Welcher. He's got a TikTok page, but he does loads of training on YouTube. Paul Lin at PLC Dojo. Have a look into them. What's this program called? GXWorks 3. It's a Mitsubishi program, but it's a licensed program. Please show us how to get this software. It's not free, so you have to download it off the Mitsubishi website, install it, go through all that process. It'll ask you for a license key, and once you put the license key in, which you have to pay for, it will let you use the software. Can you go through this at the end? Really simple. Explain how that works step by step. Yeah, if it does work, which I'm thinking it probably will. I'm overconfident, but yeah, we'll have a look. I need to add... so the limit switches are obviously going to be manually controlled by me. You know, I don't have a system to be able to automate this in any way. So I'm going to have to manually add the limit switch B and the limit switch A to the watch window. So we're going to do a start. The motor starts running forward. So the motor's going forward, forward, forward. We're going to hit limit switch B first. So we hit limit switch B, and then the motor reverses. It starts going back. So now it's going back towards A. We hit A, and then we stop. And I think that was basically what the guy was asking for. I forgot who it was that asked that. Hopefully that helps. So to go through it step by step, this is the start button. We've got a standard latch circuit. So the start button, as soon as you press that, you're going to get a logical true all the way along here until you hit this coil. This coil is going to energize. If you take your finger off the start button, you need the latching. So that's what that's there for. The minute you take your finger off the button, well, apologies, the minute this energizes, this contact closes. So then when you take your finger off the button and it goes back to normally open, you've got a pathway down here. We're still in simulation, so I can show you that. So step by step, I press the start button. The start button closes. You see it's gone blue? This has energized. This motor run forward. That's energized now. I'm going to take my finger back off that start button. So let me just untoggle that. But you see it's still held on. It's still energized. And that's because there's a contact of itself keeping it energized. That's what's called a latching circuit or a holding circuit. Ash, welcome, mate. You should have joined at the start. We're not that far in. I can't... It does tell me somewhere. I just can't see it. I'm being blind. 51 minutes. Oh, we've been on a lot longer than I thought. I'm just doing some basic ladder, mate. If anyone doesn't know, Sedgley Control Systems is a guy called Ash. He knows Siemens stuff like the back of his hand. He's really, really good. Does it every day. I talk to him every so often. There's a WhatsApp group for people in the UK called the ESK. And we're both in the controls chat in there. Yeah, just go back to this. I keep saying I've said this a couple of times. I need to stop saying I watched back my videos earlier and it was doing my nutting how many times I say Okay. The motor's now running forward. It's just going forward and forward. The guy said, whoever asked the question, I'm sorry I didn't pick up your name. When you hit limit switch B, he wants the motor to stop. Well, he didn't say he wanted to stop. He wanted to go in reverse. So we're going to hit limit switch B. So we're kind of done with this circuit up here, just for now. We'll come back to it in a second. So we're looking at another latch here. It's the same sort of thing as what we've just gone through. There's a trigger. There's some sort of trigger. It's going to energize a coil, and that coil is going to latch itself up. Same thing as what we just did there. So I'm going to now, this motor's running. We're going to hit limit switch B. Activate that. If I've got it clicked, I'll activate it. Hang on, I've turned on the start button. Right, there we go. I'll activate it now. So we hit limit switch B, and the motor's now started to go in reverse. So why has the motor gone in reverse? And again, this is very quick. I'd have to think a little bit more about this if I was to sit down and think about it. You'd maybe want some delay between the motor running forward and the motor getting slammed in reverse. You'd want a little period where you haven't got any power on the motor, or you've got a brake on or something. But just for now, just for this, we've hit limit switch B, the motor's slung in reverse. So when we hit limit switch B, we activated this coil here, limit switch B latch. That's what opened the motor forward run coil. So that there is open at the minute. I know it shows it is closed, but it's not in blue. You see how the stop button's in blue? This one isn't, because it's normally closed, but it's activated, so that means it's open. Thank you to everyone who's sharing the live, liking the live, all that stuff. I'm sorry I'm missing your comments, but I just want to go through this step by step. Right, okay, so we hit limit switch B, and we've started going in backwards now. So the minute you start going backwards, at some point, you're not touching limit switch B anymore, so that goes off. But because we latched it up, it's still held in. That's what this latch was all about. We're still going in reverse because limit switch B latch is what's doing our reversing. And then eventually, we're going to keep going back so far that we hit limit switch A. Once we hit limit switch A, that's what's going to deactivate our B latch. I'm hoping this makes sense. So we've hit A. Now the motor's stopped. We're just sat there. So, Desvad, yes, you did ask. Thank you, mate. Yeah, hopefully that explains it for you. Hopefully someone got something out of that. My goodness, even my job is pursuing me on a Saturday evening. Yeah, we're just a bunch of nerds, what can I say? Have I missed any? I'm E as well as in MV and HV. I do P and C. Nice job. Pick. Max Ziedler, this is sick. Thank you, mate. I appreciate that. Interesting. Much different to HVAC controls. Yeah, I mean, I've done it. I've just thrown this together in like 5 minutes. So this isn't kind of what you would see in the real world. I just wanted to show you something quick and go through it and explain it. What's a real world example of a limit switch? I'm not sure what you mean by that, mate. It's basically a switch on an arm, and you know, something will hit it and it will actuate, and then you use the, you know, you wire that contact back to your PLC. Have a quick Google of a limit switch. You'll see loads of images. Like some sort of value you would set. No, a limit switch is a physical switch that gets hit by something. No problem. This is bad. Perfect, thank you. No worries. What software is this? This is Mitsubishi GX Works 3. It's the only proper PLC software I've got on this computer, because I only just got this computer a couple of days ago. I used to work in a building which integrated BMS and PLC controls for a third-party integrator. Nice, Jay. Did you ever get involved with any of that yourself? Was hellish. Okay. Appreciate everyone who's followed the live tonight, everyone who shared the live, anyone who sent gifts. Katakuri, thank you for sending that rose. You should pin the program name. Yeah, Katie, can you pin it, please? It's Mitsubishi GX Works 3. We had this when we were looking at Simu Relay as well. It's fine. People just jump in and out, and it's fine. Yeah, I'm working for Schneider Electric in Spain with DCS and PLC. Nice. You work actually for Schneider. I like Schneider's PLCs. I like the 221, very low end, cheap PLC, but quite powerful. The 241 is good as well. M580. For anyone interested, you can all install CodeSys or TwinCat and learn PLC programming for free. That's right, Sick Crust, you can. I shout it from the rooftop all the time. I've not really used it, TwinCat, but I hear it's pretty good. CodeSys I have used. CodeSys is great. I love CodeSys. Do you work from remote? No. I work locally to my house. It's about a 20-minute drive. Thank you to everyone following and all that. Is there anything basic anyone wants to see? I don't want to go too deep into something, but if there's something basic you want to see, I can try and show it. Isn't TwinCat part of Beckoff? I thought you had to pay for license. It is part of Beckoff. I believe it is free. I could be wrong. I think you have to pay for a runtime if you want to put it on a PLC. But just to program and simulate and stuff, I think you can use it for free. Can you show us how time delays work? I can. So, well, this is a funny one as well, because Mitsubishi's timers, they have a certain way of, or what's the word? Legacy way of doing timers, which I hate. I don't like it whatsoever. So I use the function block timers, and we'll just do that for now. Come out of simulation mode, go back into write mode. Just bin off a load of that. So I appear to have closed down my window for the parts on the right hand side. Let me figure out how to get it back. I think I closed it down just because there's only so much real estate on the screen on a mobile that you can legacy, nice way of putting it. Yeah, it's shit, mate, I'll be honest. How do I get my toolbars back on the right? Is it up here? No. See, the thing is, I can't remember what they're called on the right hand side. If anyone knows, put it in the comments. Thank you, Katie. Thank you for that. Tool. Is it in there? Stock window. It'll be one of these, I imagine. Element selection. Yes, that's the one. Right, hopefully that's not made it too small for you. So this is ladder logic, but you can pull in like instructions, and some of them are function blocks. And I like to use the timers that are over in the function blocks. Now I just need to find them. Is it timer data? No, it's not that stuff. Timer, there we go. There we go. So for timers, I prefer to pull them in like this. We'll just add that. So it looks like a block. It's like kind of function block, kind of ladder. Let's just bring that up here. I don't think we need all the latch and stuff. I'll close it again just because it makes it really small and you can't see. Right, so there's a timer block. This is a timer on. Can I do that? Will it allow me? There we go. That must look a bit clearer for you. Yeah, there we go. So this is what's called a TON, timer on. And what that does is you give it a signal. It will wait a certain amount of time, depending on what you set, before it gives an output. And what we can do is you don't actually need to put anything on the right hand side. You don't have to. It'll probably, if I recompile it adds it anyway. And what I can do in here is put, I like to use the IEC timers, so T#5S. And what that's basically saying is, so it's got an in, it's got an out. I'm trying to keep it very basic. Got an input, it's got an output. And it's also got a PT, which is the preset time, I think it's called. Basically, it says it there, time delay value setting. I think you can see that. T#5S means 5 seconds, essentially. Mitsubishi treats this as a 32-bit time. It's a 32-bit value. I think it's of the time. The word escapes me, but type, that's the word. Anyway, let's just go and make this super simple, just to show you a timer. We're going to call this, well, we've got motor run forward, so let's just bang that in. You've got two ways of doing this. You can either put a coil on the end of it, and then a contact of that coil down here, or you can directly call the output of this timer. So ton1.q, and I can put a contact in. So you see how ton1 has a Q. Q is the output. And what I'm basically saying is, I don't want to put a coil up here. Let's just use the output as a contact down here. Hopefully that makes sense. And that should, what should happen from this is, if I put it back into simulation mode, if I put the start push button on, I have to hold it on for 5 seconds, and then the motor run forward coil will come on. So start PB, toggle it on, 1, 2, you can see the timer here, 3, 4, 5, and then the coil came on there. Hopefully that makes sense. What app? This is Mitsubishi GX Works 3. What are you designing? Nothing really, mate. It's just, I'm on here just showing people some stuff. Someone asked for how the timer works. Have I missed anything? Thank you to everyone who's followed tonight. It's been crazy. There's been so many follows. Thank you. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you for the gifts. Thank you to everyone liking the live. Thank you to everyone sharing the live. Hi from Peru. Hello. Welcome. Why is it saying my live's going to end? That's not true. Hang on a second, guys. You probably can even hear that. There we go. Show how you do state machine logic. There's a few different ways you can do that. Yes, it's good explained. Thank you. No problem. Am I pronouncing your name right? Desvad. I think that's how you say it. Zevad, maybe. Maybe the D silent. Hi from Ghana. Hello, mate. How are you? Ignition is nice. Feels a bit bloated sometimes. I've never used Ignition. I hear some good things about it, though. It's like a HMI type software, I think. I've never used it myself. Is it free? Does anyone know if it's free? It'd be worth looking into, I think. Explain your most popular. I'm not sure what you're asking there. For the state machine? Yeah, I mean, there's a ton of different ways you can do it. The way I tend to do it... let's delete this stuff. Let me go into write mode. I try and keep it simple so things don't get complicated, but I don't need to go mega hard with it normally in my day-to-day programming. Other people might do it a lot more complicated than this, but easier for them. But yeah, this just makes sense in my head. So let's add some statements just so we can say state 1. Let's call this state 2. How do I edit, insert row? There is a shortcut for this. I can't remember off the top of my head what it is, just to insert some rows. Call this state 3, state 4. Let's just stop there. That's enough. Shouldn't have done that. Should not have done that. Now I need to add them back in. For fuck's sake. Right, let's add some contacts in. So, in fact, comparison is what I need. So I need a block. There we go. And we do equals, and we say K0, D0. I'm doing it in like direct addressing just because it's the easiest way for me to do it at the moment. From the way I'm thinking about it. What this instruction is basically saying is if K0, which is a constant, if 0 is in D0, the value of D0 is 0, then do X, Y, and Z over here. Let's just call that motor run forward. And put that on there. And then once you've done whatever you want to do, you know, whatever you want to do in state 0, you then change to the next state. So for that, I would do
You must run control.
motor run forward. Pull this over here. And I want to do a move command. So mov K1 D0. Again, I'm sorry, I'm not doing variables. It's just in my head at the minute, this very minute in time, doing it on the fly. This is what makes sense in my brain. Snarky Man, welcome back, mate. Thank you for joining live again. How are you doing? Yeah, so what we're going to do is, if the value of D0, which is just a register, it's just a bit of memory that holds an integer value. If that register has, you know, is 0, we're going to do something, which is basically run this motor. When we're happy that the motor's ran, or, you know, we've done whatever we're doing, we're then going to move a 1 into D0. And then state 2, we're going to say exactly the same as what we did before, except we're going to change it to K1 now. So if there's the number 1 in the register, let's say move motor reverse. Again, this is literally just to give an example. There's no actual real world benefit to what I'm doing here. Motor reverse. And then when we've done that, let's grab all of that. And then we're going to chuck K2 in there. So each time what we're doing is we're checking to see the value of a register. If that register is the value that we're looking for, we're then going to do something. Once we're happy we've done the thing what we're doing, we're then going to add add 1 to that number, or whatever, you know, however you want to do it. And that way you're creating a state. Once you've done that state, you move to the next state, blah, 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 blah. Hopefully that makes sense. There's probably way easier ways of doing it. That's just the way I would do it on the fly at the moment, the way I'm thinking about it. What's the latest version of GXWorks 3? It's probably this one, mate. I probably can't show you because, hang on a second, because it might show my license off and I don't want that to happen. Let me just hide the screen. Hopefully no one can see what I'm about to say. It's 1.116W. At least that's what I've got on at the minute, and I only installed this a couple of days ago. There we go. Thank you for this instruction. I had to leave. I followed you. Greetings from Bosnia. Thank you, mate. Really appreciate that. Have a good evening. I want to get into automation and controls. What should be my first steps? First steps, I would say don't jump in too hard. I always say to everyone, download Cosys, download Cosys. But if you know absolutely nothing, that's probably not going to help. In that case, I would say maybe download Schneider Zelio Soft, which is smart relay programming software. It's fairly simple. I think it'll be quite easy for someone who doesn't know a great deal to be able to just get into it. The Schneider manuals are pretty good, so maybe try that. I've missed loads of comments. If I've missed anything that you want an answer to, just say it again. Cool, I've got 1.117x installed, so must be there or abouts. Yeah, I think you must be. I can't remember what I said to you now, mate, but that sounds, yeah, pretty good. It does, I feel like that was... Is that later than the one I just said? I don't know. British. Yes, I am, mate. Yep. Tier Portal with Siemens. Yeah, this isn't Tier Portal. This is Mitsubishi GXWorks 3. So this is Mitsubishi's PLC's programming language. What's your opinion on CC Link protocol in Mitsubishi? It's okay. It does the job. It's not too difficult to work with. Must learn electrical expertise first to fully comprehend PLC programming. Yeah, I agree, Streetbags. Jumping into programming. Although, that being said, I do see there's like a rising trend of, excuse me, IT style programmers coming into industry now. They don't know really anything about electrical, but they seem to make it work. I mean, never really worked with them. I just see it a lot on LinkedIn and stuff like that. So I assume, you know, this is transferable, these sort of things. But I reckon they probably use structured text more anyway. Worth watching Mo Lester's playlist on YouTube to get started. I'm not aware of that, mate. Connor, thank you for sharing that. At least gives you more respect amongst the guys on the floor if you've done it. Yeah, definitely. I was learned in basics in college, but now I want to introduce myself. Yeah, dive in, give it a go. There's plenty of free softwares out there to try. So, we've done a bit of programming now. Does anyone else want to see something basic before I move on?
Control. You must bring control.
Pickle, how's it going, mate? Are you alright? Thank you to everyone who's followed. Thank you to everyone who's shared. Thank you to everyone who's liking. Thank you for all of that.
Control.
I know ladder logic when I see it. Yes, mate, this is ladder logic. It doesn't have to be. You can do plenty of other programming languages. Structured text, SFC. I don't know if you guys can see that. Can you see that? Probably not. It seems like pop-up screens you can't really see. Let me just try this. You can see it now. Ladder, structured text, sequential function chart, and Mitsubishi have like a weird function block ladder hybrid thing. It works all right. It's function block. I prefer the Schneider way of doing function block better. The Zelio stuff that I was showing the other day. But yeah, it does the job. Yeah, I got through it. That old garbage was serial comms, no IP needed. Okay, mate. Good stuff. Good job you got through it. Have any tips for that? I'm trying to learn, but I can't find videos on this mod. No, mate. I'm not entirely sure what that is. Is that an expansion card? RD81 MES 96. It's not ringing any bells in my head, but my memory is terrible. So, Opto 22 has a cool GUI and EEC code language. I've not used the Opto 22. Yeah, I'm not sure what that is, mate. I'll be honest, I'm not sure.
Control. You must bring control.
Hey, Logical Controls, are you based out of the UK? I am, mate. Yes, I am based out of the UK. I use Allen Bradley equipment mostly. Done some with Omron Melsec Automation Direct. Oh, so you know a few different ones. Nice. Are you in the UK, Mikester? I feel like Automation Direct stuff isn't really that easy to get hold of here. Not that I've seen anyway. My company's been hiring some software engineers to do controls for our Beckhoff PLCs since it's structured text. Yeah, structured text is it's a different ball game, I would say. If you're electrical biased, it's much more difficult to get into structured text than it is ladder and that sort of thing. If you're from a computer science background, it's probably much easier to get into structured text than it is ladder. Yeah, I guess it all just depends, what your background is and what you've done in the past. If you call them, they'll give you a trainer for free. Ask for Jeff. Was that in relation to the Automation Direct stuff? United States. Oh, okay, yeah, United States. Yeah, the Automation Direct seems to be pretty big out there. But when I looked in the UK, I couldn't really see, because I like the look of the Click PLCs. Oh, Opto 22. Apologies, Pickle. Yeah, I looked at the Click PLCs. They look pretty good, but they're not really a thing over here. I work at a blow moulding facility and manufacture plastic soda bottles. Have covered quite a lot. Nice, mate. Nice. You prefer function block diagram? Yeah, I mean, I guess I haven't really used the Mitsubishi one all that much. I've had a play with it. I haven't used it in anger. But I prefer the way other people do it. Other manufacturers do the function block diagram. It's giving me all sorts of information there that I don't care about. But it's the same sort of thing. Can you drag? No, you can't drag. I got rid of that sidebar again. Let me see if I can bring it back. I forgot what it's called already. Elements. I've seen it there. You just pull instructions in. For example, a counter. I'll just say yes to that. Pull in a counter, and then I think you drag it. Is that right? Yeah, there we go. I'll just put the start in because I've got it. Oh no, this is a new program, so up count. Let's just call it that. Up count. I know a lot of people do use this. It seems to be really popular in like process control type stuff. Down count. Is that reset? Should have probably preset value. I don't think we need to work with that. Current value, let's just call that D0. There we go, it's auto connected. If I put that into, I might need to compile it first. Sorry, I'm kind of blabbering to myself here, aren't I?
Control. You must run control.
If you want crazy good motion controller for super cheap, LS Electric is amazing. I've not tried LS Electric either. I did hear about them the other week though. Someone came into my chat from South Africa and was telling me about them, and then I did some research after the live, and they look like a pretty big company. I've not heard of them up until now, but motion control and stuff, that's not really... oh, they're Korean. Oh, this guy was telling me they were South African. Yeah, I don't really do motion control, so it's not really something I know about. What does a PID loop look like? I could probably pull one in. I'm not going to set one up though. PID... looks like that. Doesn't look too bad. S1, S2, S3. It's deceiving. I do know with Mitsubishi, although, yeah, with Mitsubishi the PID isn't straightforward. Let me tell you that much. You might look it there, but there's a load of registers you'll have to set in the background to get it to work.
Control. You must
Let me just bin that off then.
control. You must run control.
Appreciate everyone who's following, everyone who's liking and sharing. Really, really appreciate it. Thank you. And I don't think I've missed any gifts. No, there we go. I'm looking for simulation mode. My mind's starting to flag a bit now. There we go. I found it. Unable to write because an error exists. Ah, what's my error? Oh, let's just stop that. Up count. Oh, you need the line. Okay. Like I say, I don't use this often, so I find that a bit silly, but okay, whatever. Convert. Well, now we've got error free. Are we in simulation mode?
Control. You must run control.
Let's come out of it and go back into it. Oh. Yeah, GPT bringing up some BS. Hello, engineer. I've probably missed a load of comments, so I do apologise. Hello, engineer. I'd like to know if you can create a program for a plastic bag cutting machine. No, not in 5 minutes, mate. No. So, unfortunately, not on this occasion. What are you going to control? Nothing, to be fair, mate. I'm just having a look at the function block diagram editor, just because we were talking about it, basically. If I add that to a watch table, and add that to a watch table,
Control. You must run control.
should start being able to count now. You should see that D0 block over here start going up every time I toggle this, which it isn't. I'm missing something clearly. Is it that low LD? The thing is, when you're using blocks you don't really use often, you need to kind of look at the manual for them and that sort of thing. Over here though, there is instructions to tell me. Counter up, down. On. D3 was extracted. Okay. Let me just check that. True. That's not changing. Neither's that. I'm definitely missing something basic. Thank you, Katie, for pinning that. Or saying that. Yeah, and pinning it. Ladder logic. This is kind of like a hybrid. This is function block ladder logic. It's like a weird Mitsubishi language. CU should be all that's needed. Maybe you have to address the CU to a register. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. CU should be all that it's needed. But I'm thinking LD. I don't entirely know what LD's for. I'm not seeing it. Because it might be that you need to set that true for it to work, like an enable. Anyway. Is there going to be another live? Good question. I don't know. I'm trying to do them on Fridays and Saturdays. I did do one on Thursday as well. I'd say midweek I'm not really going to plan anything, but if I happen to have some time spare, I'll come on. But on the weekend I'm going to try Fridays and Saturdays. Definitely, that's the days I'm aiming for anyway. Yes, but given he's asking here, we should expect he's stuck and at that. I'm not sure what's going on there. Greetings from electrical maintenance apprentice from Bulgaria. What are you doing now? Can you explain? I was just looking at the language. So I'm used to ladder logic and function block diagram, but on the Schneider ones, and structured text. I'm okay with structured text, not as good as I am with ladder. I was having a look at the up-down, the counter block. I thought, appreciate that, Pickle. Thank you, mate. I really appreciate that. I was looking at the counter up-down block, but I'm not used to it, and I don't really want to start pulling out manuals on the live to start looking into it. So, yeah, I'm just kind of not doing much. How did the painting go? Long and hard. I'm tired, man, tonight. I am. I've painted all my hallway. I've painted all my stairs. Half of the hallway upstairs. Yeah, I've been painting all day. Really appreciate that, Pickle. Thank you, mate. Thank you to everyone who's following. I haven't even been able to keep up with the follows, I'll be honest. It's been crazy tonight. I really appreciate everyone. Thank you. I've never seen an interface like that. It looks so chaotic. Yeah, I mean, I don't really use this. You can start like dragging stuff around. I believe it's mainly used in like process control and stuff like that, which isn't my industry, which is probably kind of why I don't really, it doesn't appeal to me. It doesn't really do anything that I can't do in ladder. Yeah, it's a bit mad. It is all a bit mad. You just drag, pull stuff around, and I guess there's benefits to it. Anyway. So, what next? I'm probably... What time are we on? An hour and we've done an hour and 25 minutes. Let's go back to Simulrelay for the last sort of half hour, I would say, and then we'll call it wraps.
Control. You must bring control.
I've probably missed a load of comments. I do apologise. Point ChatGPT is more to jog your mind and get you a few new ideas. ChatGPT is good. It should never be relied upon though, and you should always have half an understanding or half an idea of the answer that you're asking for, because it's it will convincingly tell you something that's absolute rubbish, and it's very good at explaining something, but it's actually totally untrue. So you need to kind of have half an eye on what it's talking about, and you can't just ask it to do something for you. Not anything important anyway. Nice live. I used to teach this subject in tech school in Colombia. Nice, Rodrigo. I appreciate that. Thank you. What sort of teach? Like, did you teach controls, or was it PLCs, or what? Michael's Orbit. Hello, mate. How are you doing?
Control. You must bring control.
What program is this? That was Mitsubishi GX Works 3, which was a programming software. This is Simulrelay, which is like a controls type software. For ladder logic and not ladder logic, relay logic. Apologies. You can tell I'm getting tired. I'm saying the wrong words now. Thank you for all the follows. I really appreciate that. Thank you for everyone liking as well. This has been a crazy stream. So what should we do on this now? So earlier on, I did like a flip-flop circuit, but there's actually a flasher timer. So like if you have a multi-function timer, it'll probably have a flashing setting on it, and that would have saved a whole boatload of effort that I did earlier, but it wasn't that complicated anyway, to be fair. Let's do a normally closed push button on there, just so it's just running all the time. And let's put a contact in for KT1, which is the timer. KT1, there we go. So every 2 seconds that flashes. That flip-flop I did earlier could have been done with just a flashing timer. Used to teach PLCs, pneumatic and hydraulic controls. Nice, Rodrigo. That's really cool. What do you do now then? Did you come out of teaching? Or are you retired maybe? While a control and PLC fall under the same umbrella like GraphSet. I think is that how you say it? GraphSet. I don't use that language either, to be fair. That's like the way when I was showing state machines earlier. That's a way of doing state machines, isn't it? Where do you do this? This particular thing here, you'd probably do it if you have like an alarm. So rather than have this push button that I've put in, you'd have maybe a contact from like whatever's triggered your alarm, and you would flash a lamp and maybe even have a buzzer. I think this software does have a buzzer.
Control. You must control.
Be interested to know if it actually plays a sound through the software.
Control. You must control. Control.
No, I don't think it's making any sounds, but you can see it's lighting up
You
anyway.
must control.
So yeah, you would do it maybe like an alarm or something, or this could be like a common alarm contact going to a flashing timer, which would flash your alarm on and off. Thank you, Katie, appreciate that. Yeah, Simul Relay. Thank you to everyone who's sharing the live. Thank you to everyone who's following the live. Thank you to everyone who's tapping the screen. If you hold down the screen, you'll get a little box come up and you can repost from there. If you could do that, I'd really appreciate it. That'd be very kind of you. Can you do a reverse motor? I did that earlier on. Did I do that earlier on, or was it last night? I'm forgetting now. So I probably won't do it now, mate. Just because I'll end up going over the same thing all over again.
You must control.
Thank you, Janitor Tech, for sharing the live twice. I appreciate that. Last night, yeah. Cheers, Snarky man. Does anyone want to see anything quite? I mean, we could probably do it. I've got about half an hour left, and I'm gonna make it a quick half hour because I'm absolutely bursting for the toilet. I'm gonna end up wetting my trousers. What jobs use this? Automation in factories. And just general automation, to be fair, mate. Price of the simulator is free, Sitcrust. You don't have to pay anything. The only thing you do have to pay for is timers if you want them. I think it's just the yellow, the things in yellow. No, in fact, it's not just the things in yellow because there's a relay coil. It's just the timers, I believe. It could be other stuff. I can't remember. I bought it a long time ago. It was very cheap. It was like £5-10, something like that. 555 timers. No, I do know of a software that can do stuff like that though. I'll maybe save that for next week's live. It's a bit more electronicsy type stuff. Hate reading drawings, but can do this in real life, no problem.
You must control.
What? Put circuits together on this? Do you mean? It's only £3. Yeah, I thought that much. It was years ago I bought it, to be fair. Right, we're gonna do a forward and reverse. Is that what they said? Forward and reverse motor starter. Also, how does this stack up against Simulink Multisim? Simulink, I've not used that since I was at university. It's very different to that. Yeah, very different. Multisim, I did use that as well, but I can't remember what that was like. I think it's different. This is just for relays and stuff like that. Yes, okay, right. So, for anyone who watched last night's live, and everyone who's been watching earlier on, I do apologise. It's all very much sameness. I'm going to go for a standard latching circuit. And bring K1 in. At least with all this, I'm getting more used to the software. I use it every so often. I don't use it regularly, so some stuff I've just not used for a while. Appreciate whoever's smashing the like button. I really appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you to all the new followers as well, by the way. So that's our start. Where do we want to go from here? I'm getting tired, so my brain's not fully working right now. Let's bring in the motors, and it might jog my memory. We'll just do it single phase again. In fact, we'll do it three phase, just for something a little bit different. Let's do a three phase motor this time. You can see that okay, yep. Rotate. And let's bring a three phase motor in, that one there. There we go. Let's bring in some the circuit breakers, there we go. Let's take that one to there, that one to there, that one to there. Let's bring in a 3-pole contactor, that is there. Let's bring in an overload. So we've got protection, control, overload, that'll do us. Alright, all hooked up. We want a second, we want all that again basically. I should have brought in 2 of each one. That's the contactor. And where is the circuit breaker? Thank you, Katie, thank you for that. Yeah, pinned comment if you want to know what the software is. Circuit breaker, I've lost it, I should have brought in 2 of everything, but I didn't. I didn't think that far ahead. There it is. And overload, that is there. And then motor. There we go. Yeah, pin comment for the software, guys, if you you want to know what this is. L1 to L1. No, I've just realised. Never mind. I've wired up that wrong. There we go. L1, L2, L3. There we go. That's better. L3, L2, L1. Connect everything up. Pull that down. That looks okay. Let's create a bit more space. Can you guys see that all right? Pull this over to this side. Give it a bit more space. Do you pay for that software? You don't, mate. No, it's free. The only thing you do pay for is timers if you want them. But apart from that, it's pretty free. Just wiring dolls. Yeah. This was going to be a forward and reversing starter. Yeah. Contactor as in relay. Yeah, I've just got a relay here, but these would be contactors, like a 3-pole contactor, yeah. So can't do star delta if not timers. Yeah, that's the thing, mate. You need the timers. Yeah, but it's only cheap, and you can do a lot without the timers. To be fair. If I missed anything else. Keycad? No, it's not keycad, mate. It's Simul relay. It's pinned in the comments. Okay, so let's get back to it. I want to have a selector switch. That's what I want to do. Where's the selector switches? And we only need 2 positions, really. Could have an off position as well, but I'll just for the sake of it, I'll just put this in. You guys can see that all right? Yep. So let's go. Delete that off for a minute. Delete that off.
You must bring control.
We're going to put this on here. And in fact, now that I think about it, I don't have to double up on everything if I put it down here. Okay, so I'm doing this on the fly. I haven't even thought about a forward and reverse motor starter for a good while. Let's put that in there. Let's take that to there. So that's going to be, let's say, forward. And if we go on the other side, that's going to drop out, but which is kind of what I want. Yeah, I want that to drop out.
You must bring control.
Let's just go for it. I'm trying to think of it on the fly. It's not a circuit I do every day, so let's put K2 in there, and K2 in this. The way I'm doing it is probably not quite right, because you're gonna have to press the start button again, but that's the way I'm gonna do it for this one. Values. What software are you using? It's pinned in the comments, mate. It's the pinned comment. K2, that's what I want to do. So, let me just think about this for a second. Looks a little bit messy. Let me try and tidy it up a bit. K1, K2. They will latch themselves up.
Control. You must bring control. Control. You must
Why?
bring control.
I've just realised, why have I put 2 motors in? I don't need 2 motors.
Control.
We're doing forward and reverse. So I don't need that either. I'm obviously losing my marbles here. I can use the overload common. Let's wire that. So that's L1, L2, L3. Let's make a bit more
You
space.
must bring control.
Let's put L1 there. Let's put L3 to L2. And right, this will make sense when I pull them apart. I'll let you talk amongst yourself. E-plan is better. I'm not sure what you're on about. This isn't a design software, to be fair, mate. That goes on. I'll need to electrically interlock there. I don't need to electrically interlock them. They interlock through the switch. What else do we want to do? We'll use that as a common thing. Let's put 2 to 2. 4 to... yeah, 4. Flipped over at the top end. 6 to 6. Using star delta. No, I'm kind of just doing forward reverse, but kind of from not even from memory. I'm just making it up on the fly because I don't do them that often. So I'm kind of just doing it on the fly based on what I think. So if I'm doing it wrong, let me know early doors and I can change it. Let's try bring it all in. Can you guys see that all right? Let me give that a whirl, just because not... So K1, that's okay. That would then bring on my KM1. It's held itself in. If I want to change direction, it should drop out. It did drop out. I think the software... I think in reality, it wouldn't go straight onto K2 because it would drop out. This software might be a little bit quick for it. You know, during the actuation, it would probably drop out. Life is crazy. I'm taking EC230 logic and circuits left. I'm not entirely sure what that is, crash out. Let me know what that is, mate. Electrical interlock due to case contact latch shut, so it should use a normal closing. You are right. But like I say, I'm just making it up on the fly. I probably would. If I was sat here, if I was to do it for a proper job, I would sit here and I think about it a little bit more. I'm kind of just playing around at the moment. I should probably ought to do it right though. You are right. And the way to do that is, like I say, just put a normally closed from each relay. And in fact, we'll just make these direct on the contactors, just so I don't want to overcomplicate things by adding the contactors in as well. Just change them to KM so they actually control the contactors. KM, pull it down. It's got a bit messy. It's all looking very messy, but never mind. Let me just delete them out and put normally closed contact in for auxiliary contact from each one. So let's make that KM1. KM1 in there, and the same again for the other side. KM2. So this is what's called an electrical interlock, and basically, if I need to make that too. Sorry. If KM1 energizes, it's going to open up the contact over here to prevent KM2 from ever energizing. So what you don't want the forward and reverse contactors on at the same time, because you're going to do damage. This all looks a bit messy, but I think we should be okay. Let's press play. Let's push our start button. We're not holding in because so I changed them to KM1 over here. They're now KM1, but I didn't change the latch to KM1. So there's a second auxiliary contact. That's a normally open auxiliary contact. That's KM1, that's KM2. Let's make that look a little bit neater. It's all looking crazy and it's playing with my mind. I like things looking neat. That's a bit better. Let's bring that in one. That's in line. It looks a bit better. There we go. Thank you to everyone who's following. Thank you to everyone who's liking. Thank you to everyone who's sharing. 47,000 likes. That is absolutely crazy. That's already 7k more than we had yesterday. That's mad. Thank you, everyone. Are you able to print out schematics after you're done? I believe you can, mate. I believe you can. I'll just try this, and then I can show you. So there's start and stop forward-wise. If I obviously need to close up the protection first, prior, but you can see the arrows going clockwise. Okay, so let's stop that, start it, stop that, start it. If I change the switch over to the other way, so now because I've interlocked it, it has dropped out, which is kind of what I was thinking it should have done anyway. So now I need to press start again, and now you can see it's going anti-clockwise. Hopefully that makes sense to everyone. It's kind of mad how they've made L3 blue. I don't know why they've done that, but at least you can follow it. You can see, so basically the premise is for a forward and reverse motor is you just swap two phases to get the motor to spin the other way. So so let me just stop it. KM1 puts the phases on properly. It puts L1 to U, L2 to V, L3 to W. And for the reverse, to get it to spin the other way, you put L1 onto V. So you're only swapping two phases, you're not swapping all three. So L1 stays on U. But L2, if you follow this black or grey, dark greyish one along, it comes over here. So on KM1 it went on terminal 3, on KM2 it goes on terminal 5, and then if you follow that down, it's going to W this time, whereas on KM1 it just goes straight through to V. It might be easier if I turn it on for you to see that. So just look at where, in fact let's go back onto clockwise running. Just look where these phases end up going on the motor. You've got brown going to U, you've got the blackish colour. Let me zoom right in for you as well, just so you can see that a bit better. Brown's going to U, the blackish colour is going to V, and the bluish colour is going to W, yeah? And it's spinning clockwise. So if I change it now to spin the other way, previously this light blue was on W, and the black was on V, and now it's swapped over, and that's how you reverse a motor. Leon P, thank you, mate. I really appreciate that. Delay timer for reverse. You can go to town with it. You can. I'm trying to do it super basic and simple, mate. I'll be honest. Can you put in encoders? I don't think you can, mate. No, because there's no real. This software isn't for like. There's no signal processing or anything. It's literally just raw contacts and timers. There's nothing. There's no real intelligent blocks in this. It's just contactors, timers, relays. What else? There's some power supplies and stuff like that. It's quite a basic software, but it's for like hardwire control, so you don't get like encoders to tell you, you know, to wire to a PLC or anything like that. Swap all three phases, it would stay the same direction. It would, mate. Yeah, you're right. You just swap two, and it'll reverse. Thanks for the demo. No problem, mate. Is it in Steam? No, it's on the Microsoft Store. It's also, and you can get it on your phone. So if you have Apple Store, or the Play Store for Google, you can get it on there. Jack Jones, thanks for the follow, mate. Thank you to everyone who's followed. I've missed so many. I do apologise.
You must run control.
If anyone wants to re-watch any of the lives, they are on YouTube. Yeah, thank you, Katie, for reminding me. So, yesterday's live and Thursday's live, I've put up on YouTube. The quality isn't great. I don't know how I can improve that, but the lives are on there if you wanted to see yesterday's or Thursday's one. Thursday, we did about smart relays. Did some smart relay programming with Schneider Zelio. Last night was primarily Simmer relay. Just going over some basic circuits and that sort of thing. Just talking controls, really. What's the software? The software is Simmer relay. Thank you, Katie. I appreciate that. What's the best PLC in your opinion? In my personal opinion, I know barely anyone shares my opinion. I think it's Mitsubishi. I think it's a Mitsubishi IQR. But no one else will agree with you because they're not that popular. Everyone will say either an S7 1500 or they'll say like an Allen Bradley. I don't know. I don't even know the numbers of the Allen Bradleys, but most people say like the popular ones. Should do a safety relay. I did some safety stuff last night, mate. Yeah, I did some safety stuff last night. Can you do PLC program with software? No, mate. It's just hardware, hardwired relay logic. That's what this software's for. Sam, thank you to follow, mate. El Quijote, thank you for the follow. Baloo, thank you for the follow. Allen Bradley are hella expensive. They are very expensive. I don't fully get the hype behind Allen Bradley. I know they're very big in America. They're an American company, you know. They buy American. It makes total sense. But compared to a lot of the other manufacturers, they're very expensive. Yeah. And I don't see much benefit in using them over anyone else, to be fair. Have I missed anything else? Allen Bradley is easy to me. It's easy to use. Maybe that's it, mate. Yeah, maybe that's it. It's because it's easy. But again, I guess if you use Siemens enough, that's easy to use. If you use Mitsubishi enough, that's easy to use. It's just the name, isn't it? You know, they're a big name. They're known for a quality product. They're just expensive. Do you own your own company? No, mate. I'm employed. I work for another company. I'm an electrical engineer and on my own and own my own company. Currently working in Belgium. Nice, Martin. Yeah. The boat sailed for me for that sort of thing. I've got too many bills and not enough bollocks to start a company. There, that's it. Is there any PLC brand hard to use? It's relative, mate. It's relative. What you might find hard, I might find easy. What I might find easy, you might find hard. I think that's the way I said that right. I don't know. Can you zoom? We want to see what a command. No idea what you're saying to me there, mate. I do apologise. Zoom out. Is that what you're saying? Snarky man, you mentioned about can you print them and stuff like that. You can save them, capture them. I think you probably can do it as a PDF. I know you definitely do it as images.
Control, you must run control. Control, you must run control.
Siemens is probably my favourite, but well aware it has many quirks. Rockwell is just very easy. Everyone, I would say, take Sedgley Control Systems advice. This guy does it day in, day out. He knows his stuff. If he says Rockwell's easier, easy, then I believe him. I don't use Rockwell, so I don't really know. Jay, thank you for follow. Mason, thank you for follow. Is this for complete beginners? I would say it is. Yeah, you can use this software, no problem. It's totally free. The only thing you do, it's not totally free because you have to pay for timers if you want them. I'm not using any timers for this forward reverse circuit, but you can definitely use this. What is the name of the software? It's called Simu Relay. You'll find it on the Microsoft Store or Google Play Store or Apple Store. Mitsubishi aren't as good as before. Their aftercare is poorly and they're only interested in fleecing you. I'll be honest, I don't really ever rely on Mitsubishi for any sort of support. I've been using them a long time, kind of know my way around them. The manuals are pretty good. I'm fortunate enough to not need to rely on them, so I couldn't comment from that point of view. Thank you, Katie. Siemens is the best for me. Yeah, like I said, it's all relative, that sort of thing.
Control.
There is no best and worst. So, can you apply this to real-life components? You can. Yeah, definitely. That's what I do. That's why I know the software is... I'm a design engineer, and if I ever need to do any hardwired circuitry to make controls, maybe 5 times out of 10 I'll check with this first if I'm not fully confident in what I'm doing. The thing with Siemens is they're all backwards compatible, so some of the coding is weird. That, in my mind, that's a good thing. I like things that are backwards compatible. Mitsubishi's the same. You can basically go to a 40-year-old Mitsubishi PLC that's been in service, forever. You can then upgrade that. You can take the program out of it, upgrade that program to whatever the next software was that came after that, then upgrade it to next, then upgrade it to GX Developer, upgrade it to GXWorks 2, and then upgrade it to the current GXWorks 3, and then you can just pop in a brand new PLC with that same program. It's just been converted a few times. I love that about Mitsubishi. I'll be honest, GXWorks 3 is a huge improvement. Just been playing, still shit though. You're just a hater. You hate Mitsubishi. How do you sync the control circuit components with those in the three-phase circuit? There's no synchronizing. Yeah, there's no... I'm not entirely sure what you mean. The only components here is the 2 contactors, which are these, which have the contacts here. I just start and stop it when I want. I'm not sure what you mean by that, mate. Manuals and I agree. Just when they've found issues, they always want to bill you mega. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't know a lot about that, mate. That is unfortunate. Are you in the UK? Is that from like Mitsubishi UK? Is it? Thoughts on the new light chip, photons instead of electrons? I don't have any thoughts because I'm not aware of what you're talking about there, Ghost. Let me know a bit more. How did you become engineer, from university or you learn on the job? So I did an apprenticeship where basically I learned on the job, but while you learn on the job, you go to college for 1 day a week, and then eventually university for 1 day a week, and you get your qualifications and your hands-on experience all at the same time, and you get paid to do it as well while you're doing it. Not much, mind, but it's better than nothing. Thank you to everyone who's followed the live. Thank you to everyone who's shared the live. Thank you to everyone who's tapping the screen. Really, really appreciate it. I hope you've all enjoyed it tonight. I've got about 5 minutes left. Professor Butler, thank you for coming back tonight. I've only got one PLC in my hands, I think. A Siemens 1200. Do other brands use a different IDE? Yes, basically every brand uses a different IDE. The only one that I know is common to a few different hardwares is Codesys. There could be others, but yeah, that's the only one I know of. Train has that too, to convert old program into new HVAC. Yeah, I love stuff like that. Backwards compatible, something that you can, you take an old workhorse that's on its last legs out, and you don't have to reprogram anything. You just convert it. It goes through a few conversions, and you just pop in, its modern equivalent. For me, that's really good. Have you studied MPC? I'm not sure what that is. Sorry. Don't forget to go through the Overload Auxiliary 2. Yeah, you can put an auxiliary on, and I can trip them off. I haven't done that in this case. I was just throwing it together, really. What environment? Sorry, I don't know what you're saying. Just finishing my degree apprenticeship in EE. Same route, it appears. Focus on controls and LV. Nice, Alex. Is that in the UK, is it? I assume it must be. It's a degree apprenticeship. It's kind of a UK thing. Yeah, it's... In my opinion, you've gone the best route that you could go. A lot of my friends went direct to university, straight from college, university full-time. They came out with crazy debts and no job, whereas I got paid to go. It's apprenticeship for me. I'm a big, what's the word? Big believer in apprenticeships. You FW FPGAs? No, mate, I don't touch FPGAs. Do you do safety relays? I've got a video on safety relays. It's one of my pin videos, I think, on a pills one. Pickle, I appreciate the support tonight. You've been you've been smashing. Thank you. Have you built model predictive controllers? No, I'm not entirely sure what that is either. That sounds way over my head. What is this? Drawings can be code now. Yeah, they can. They can. This is called Simul Relay, and it's basically relay logic. You can bang a load of contacts together, chuck in some relays, some contactors and stuff, and do a little bit of simulation. Yeah, UK apprenticeship ended up in a better position than my uni mates. Yeah, that's exactly it, Alex. The same thing happened with me. So a lot of my mates went to university and ended up not doing the job that they graduated to do. Yeah, it's crazy. 5 years well spent. I agree, Alex. You've got a solid foundation. You've got a long career ahead of you. You've got the qualifications. You've probably learned a whole lot on the job. You're miles ahead of all the other, university graduates. Yeah. Do you have YouTube? I do. So what I'm going to do is, from now on, and I did it for yesterday's and the day before's lives, is just put the whole thing on YouTube. It is in vertical, it's in portrait mode. But if you're watching on a phone, that's fine. It doesn't matter. Thank you to everyone who's been liking the live tonight. Dumb question, apologies. I just saw the icon. Yeah. It's it's right there. How would you back up config PLC configuration files? I'm not entirely sure what you mean. I just if you're coming up to a PLC that you didn't write the program for, suck it out, save it. If you wrote the program for it, you've downloaded it to the PLC, you have that file. Give me a little bit more info, I guess. The program is called Simul Relay. Thank you, Saul. Thank you for that. Asset Center. I'm not sure what's going on there. Anyway, I'm probably going to wrap up tonight now. Like I say, I think I'm going to wet myself a bit. I've been sat here dying for a pee. I appreciate everyone tonight who's joined, who's liked, who's shared, who's gifted, and who's followed. I've had a lot of followers this live. I really appreciate it. Thank you everyone for joining. Maybe do one midweek. I'm not going to say yes to that. If not, it'll be Friday. Friday will probably be the next live. Thank you to everyone who's following now. Cheers Snarky for showing up again. That's I'm starting to remember names now. I'm seeing a lot of the same names coming in, and I really appreciate it. Thank you for following along. Thank you, Saul. Thank you. Yeah, so I'm going to call it a day there. I hope you've enjoyed the live. If you've come in halfway through and missed some stuff, tomorrow at some point I'll upload this entire live to YouTube, and if you missed something that you thought was interesting, it'll be on there. Alex, thank you for the follow, mate. Really appreciate that. Cheers, Ash. Everyone follow Sedgley Control Systems, because he's got less than 50 followers, and at some point I do want to get him on this live, and he can't have the video on unless he's got more than 50 followers. He's a PLC guy. I know he doesn't upload very much, but go and follow Sedgley Control System. The pinned comment, go and follow him. And then at some point we'll get him in the live.
Control, you must bring control.
He is someone who knows PLCs way better than me, because he does it every single day. Yeah, appreciate everyone. Thank you for that. I'll see you Friday, if not before. At all, no time. Yeah, that's the thing in it. It's time to put these videos and stuff together. It's we'll join you though. Thank you, mate. Yeah. If everyone can follow him, at least get him to 50 followers, then he can join the live and we can have a really in-depth discussion about PLCs and general automation. He does a lot of canning machines and that type of thing, which I think would be quite interesting to talk about. Yeah, it'll be good. So thank you to everyone who's joined. I will see you Friday, hopefully, if you can attend. And if not, I'll try and, like I say, if I can get the time, I'll try and do one midweek. What's that creator's name again? It's called Sedgley Control Systems. He's 4 comments above yours. Just go and give him a follow, and we'll try and get him on at some point when he's got time, because he is a busy man. He does own his own company, so he is a very busy man. Thank you, Katie. Yeah. Okay, yeah. So I'm gonna go before I wet myself. Thank you, Daryl. That's really kind. Oh, he's on holiday for 2 weeks, so we've got 2 weeks to get him to 50 followers. Thank you, everyone. Cheers. Take it easy. Have a good weekend.